Welcome to CXOTalk, coming to you from the Oracle Modern CX Conference. We're here in front of a live audience, and I'm speaking with Des Cahill, who is the head CX evangelist at Oracle. So I'm excited to learn from him today.
Why is customer experience so complex today?
Well, first I'd break down customer experience a little bit into, it's really four major components: marketing, sales, commerce, and service. What makes it complex, Michael, is that while traditionally each of these areas, sales, service, marketing, and commerce, have each done a good job in interacting with the customer today expects to be treated as one person in their experiences across all of those four areas. And increasingly, companies are being challenged because they have to bridge both these digital and physical worlds, not just in sales, but across service, marketing, and commerce, so that we as consumers feel like we're being treated as an individual by that company.
So there's a requirement to share information across silos, across departments, across organizations.
That's exactly the term that we talk about, is silos of information. So the marketing department has a bunch of information about you as a customer. You know, your digital behavior on the website, the ads you clicked on. The sales department knows what you bought. The service department knows what problems you've had. The commerce department knows what you've bought online. The trick for companies today is how do they bring that data together? And then the other thing about this customer data is it's becoming more and more complex and richer. And I'll give you an example. So we had Charlie Herron, the Chief Customer Officer from Comcast, speak at Modern Customer Experience here this week a couple of times. And one of the things Charlie talked about was, in order to improve Comcast customer service, they took customer data like name, address, service you have, products you bought. They combined that with operational data. So I know that you've got 10 gigabit service, or 10 megabit service. You've got these many devices in your home, like IoT data. And then the third piece they did, which really was revolutionary, is they've really adopted Net Promoter Score and integrated it into their processes. So they're getting 30,000 customer surveys a week. So now they're taking customer sentiment behavior. How do you feel about your Comcast service? How do you feel about your internet connectivity? And they're combining that with what products you own, and then what is their data, their IoT data from the router, telling them about your actual physical service. So combining the operational, the customer and product master data with this sentiment data, all of a sudden you have a much richer view of the customer, not just what they bought from you, but how they feel. And that can really help you deliver a much better level of service.
I had a conversation with the Chief Information Officer of Brooks Brothers, and he said that what they're trying to do is translate the traditional Brooks Brothers white glove service,
right,
as he called it, onto this multi-channel experience, right, that you've just been talking about.
So another great example there is a company we've been talking about, an Oracle customer, Stitch Fix. And they are a company where you fill out an online survey about your fashion preferences. You could point Pinterest boards about certain fashions and point Stitch Fix to that board. You can write them notes, and then Stitch Fix takes a combination of AI and machine learning and a personal stylist. So like the AI machine learning will say, oh, we should send Michael some jeans, but the stylist is going to pick out the specific jeans for you. And then the company sends you a box, and then you decide to buy 5 items. You decide to buy 3, and you return 2. But it's a really cool way of reimagining the customer experience, again, in this era where we're all really busy. We want digital experiences, and they live and die by their ability to effectively predict the kind of clothing you or I would prefer, which could be very different.
Now you mentioned Stitch Fix, so we're not talking just about using software to increase the efficiency of operations, but we're rethinking our relationship to the customer really from the ground up.
Exactly. So, it's like going back to the top, when you asked me about customer experience, I defined it as the totality of interactions that the brand has with the customer. So it's really, how do you deliver the product? How do you price the product? And with Stitch Fix, it's radical to think that Well, I can I can ask someone to send me a box of 5 items of clothing whenever I want. And there's other examples, many other value-add fashion providers where you can go on a subscription basis or rent the runway. You've got a formal event and you just want something one-off. So in this era of innovation and so much technology, it's really cool that we've unleashed so many fertile minds to re-look at the way that we've been buying in our business lives or in our consumer lives and reimagining it. Now, the challenge that brings for traditional companies is can they innovate? The innovator's dilemma. They've already got a successful business. So if you're Nordstrom and you've got a great retail business, what motivates you to invest so much in digital? Well, you've got a vision that if I don't do this, I'm going to be in trouble. But it's hard to have that vision and realize that you've got to make those investments when you're running your day-to-day company and being successful at it.
This issue of innovation is such an important one. I know a major well-known fashion retail brand that has really struggled with innovation for exactly the reasons that you just described, that you have established sources of revenue, but now you're talking about doing something new. And so how do you recommend that companies incorporate this new mindset, this new way of looking at the customer within their existing operations?
Well, I would say a few things about that, Michael. Number one is, no one is dumb, right? So I think that within that company, the CEO and board know they need to change, and the CX professionals, or the product managers, everyone knows what's going on, right? And there's a lot of young people working probably at this company, and in their everyday lives, they're having digital experiences. They're driven by their mobile phones. They see what their friends do, how their friends buy, right? So the will can be there, but sometimes the impediment to making the change does boil down to a technology piece. I mean, there is a certain amount of, stepping off the diving board and jumping in the pool, bravery of making change. But then even if they make that decision to jump in the pool and change their business model, the next question becomes, how do I do that? How do I bring the systems together? Because yes, you can hire an agency and build a great website. You can let's deploy a chatbot. This is going to be awesome. But how do you build the back-end systems to allow your customer service people or your salespeople to have access to inventory or data about the new products? Or a lot of companies are moving away from selling products and they're moving to offering their products as a subscription. So I'm looking off camera over here at a street sweeper, a giant multi-million-dollar machine, and that is now being offered to cities on a subscription basis because the city doesn't want to have to buy a multi-million-dollar machine, a super complex piece of machinery, predict when it's going to fail, worry about a service department, order multiple of them. They want to get their streets swept and kept clean. So even multi-million-dollar complex pieces of machinery are going to subscription-based pricing. But most organizations aren't set up to do that. So it can come down to things like, I would say it's about, can the IT department move at the speed of change that the product people and the customer experience professionals and the leadership want? That's often an impediment.
Which brings up a very important point, which is this notion of customer experience. It's not just for retailers.
Right, absolutely. It's, think about industries like insurance or banking or healthcare. So traditionally, you're tied to those relationships. Well, I've got all my banking relationships. Oh, what a hassle to change my insurance. I've signed up for a health plan. I'm attached to this hospital. My airline. Oh, United's got a hub at SFO. I've got to be there. But now number one, these industries are getting deregulated, so there's more choice. Number two, we as consumers are so exposed to companies like Amazon or Apple or Walmart.com or Starbucks, companies that are mixing the physical experience and the digital experience so well that even when we go to an industry like our banking life or our insurance, we expect a different experience.
Now, you just raised what I think is a very important issue, which is customer experience is not just about user interface, but the fact that they enable functionality for you is the core of at least beginning to meet your expectations as a consumer. At least they enable the transaction possibility.
They let me do what I needed to do, when I wanted to do it, where I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it now. I wanted to do it digitally. I didn't want to call somebody and get on the phone with somebody. So that's essentially, you got to meet the customer, and whether this is B2B or B2C, you've got to meet the customer in their moment of need. You've got to give them the service that they want in the channel of their choice. And when I say channel of their choice, this is kind of an interesting thing is, most companies think of, well, we're providing customer experience and we do a great job. We've got an 800 number, people can email us, people can visit our store, they can visit our website, we've got a chat on our website, and we even monitor our Twitter handle. And that's like, well, that's great, you've come a long way, but that's not enough anymore. And what we like to talk about are organic channels, meaning that increasingly people are spending their time on WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, or if you look in Asia, in China, it's WeChat. So these platforms are increasingly becoming the places where your customers are spending their time. So using Oracle Service Cloud and other parts of the CX suite, our customers are starting to interact with their customers in Facebook Messenger. So where this is going is you're going to be able to, I'm going to be able to talk to my chat with my insurance company through Facebook Messenger, because that's my application of choice. I'm going to be able to get the information. They're going to let me know my insurance is expiring. They're going to send me a link. I'm going to be able to make the payment there, and it's all done seamlessly in the channel of my choice, not theirs. Your choice may be Pinterest or Instagram, or but everyone. The definition of omni-channel is expanding to the channel of the choice. And if you want to see what the channels are going to be of the future, look at what your teenagers, look at what channels that they're on today.
So you need a profound understanding of the customer, who they are, where they live, what do they want, what are their expectations.
And you have to have that information available at any point of contact in the customer journey. Because I might call you, I might call the service department. I might tweet to the sales guy. I'm a salesperson. I may go to the website. I may interact with a chatbot. That information has to be available at any point in the journey, at any time, 24/7.
So the software then serves as the foundation, the enabler, and then it's the data that links all of these pieces together that you were just describing.
So Michael, we see the needs of our customers in three levels, and that informs our product development investment strategy at Oracle to support our customers. We think about connected data, so the ability to take all that data that you have about the customer, whether it's sentiment data, behavioral data, CRM type data, combine all that data, and then we talk about a connected intelligence layer, which is how do you apply AI, machine learning, behavioral analytics, IoT analytics, so there's increasing number of smart devices that are gathering usage data. Well, how do you get insight if you have all this data about the customer, on the connected intelligence layer, how do you get real-time insight so that when someone is on a call or is interacting digitally, you can use that insight to predict what kind of interaction they want to have, or what products to recommend to them, or what offer to make to them. And then at the third layer, we call it connected experiences, which is the totality of all the interaction points, which is all the software that we offer, everything from our marketing software, sales software, commerce, and service software.
Okay, what final advice have you got for organizations who are looking at this and they're saying, we need to do this, but they're not sure how to do it?
Well, I would say that they need to look within their own organization, because the truth is they do know how to do it. It's a question of providing the support to their teams and empowering their teams. So my message to the top level of the company, we recently did a survey of CX professionals across the world, and we found that 68% of CX professionals said they felt like they really knew what they needed to do to provide great customer experiences. They felt like, we understand our customer, we're ready to go. But 55% of the respondents felt like their company wasn't investing enough in this area of customer experience, or they felt like competitors were going to get there first before they could. So I think the message to the board and to the executives and to the VPs and the leaders is you need to stop thinking functionally about CX. Wow, we've got great marketing, we've got great sales, we've got good service, we've got good commerce, but you've got to think about these things holistically and bringing them together. And I think it all starts with just a realization that you have to transform these days from being a product company to a customer company. And if you start with that, with being a customer company, then it all rolls from there.
Thank you so much, everybody. Des Cahill.
Michael Krigsman.